So girls, when are you gonna become friends again? Debbie, Ruth, are they gonna become friends ever
Maybe
again?
never.
Maybe never. I hope someday.
I do think they may find. I actually think that this thing that has happened in their friendship, while obviously being devastating and detrimental to them right now, it maybe sort of needed to happen. We realized in season 2 that there have been some issues at the heart of this friendship for a long time that have not been discussed. These two friends have sort of settled into their roles in this friendship dynamic, and maybe that was never going to change, but it wasn't working well for either of them. Mm-hmm. They needed to reach a breaking point to finally address issues that had gone unspoken for a long time, and they will address them in season 2.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity for them to create a better version of their friendship that's healthier and more supportive.
Mm-hmm. What is the main topic of this second season? I think we're gonna see a little bit more of fights and glitter and dresses.
Yes.
There's more wrestling.
There's definitely more wrestling in season 2. You know, we're seeing them creating the show of glow and what goes into that. You know, I think we also see Ruth and Debbie individually finding their strengths as creators behind the scenes, and in what ways they feel empowered and in what ways they still feel kind of invisible and lonely. I think they're both very lonely.
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, season 1 was so much about all of these women finding their own voice, realizing strengths they never knew they had, and empowering themselves. In season 2, that theme continues, but now with the show being out, with them having real fans, with them dealing with a network, they're bumping up against limitations that maybe they always knew were there but kind of forgot to expect. So as they've settled into these roles on the show where they are giving themselves permission to reach for the stars, they're suddenly, you know, they're hitting that glass ceiling.
Mm-hmm. How important do you think it's as a feminist series like Glow right now?
I think it's important now. I think it was important last year when we were making the show, and will continue to be important as we move forward as an industry. It's refreshing to see shows about women, made by women, showing many different types of women, showing different types of female voices and different types of female bodies, showing women in a real way. I think that will never stop being important. It's very relevant now, but I think its importance will always exist.
Yeah, I think eventually, I think people will realize that it's not a trend that's happening or a flash in the pan, like once in a lifetime thing, that this is the new reality, that we're going to be telling all different kinds of female stories.
You were saying that your characters get involved into creating the Glow show. Like
they certainly try.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine yourselves, like in the future, like behind the cameras, making a show?
Yeah.
I think Alison would be a great director.
I may have asked our showrunners if I could possibly direct an episode eventually, and you know, maybe in a couple of years I will have the confidence to make that happen.
Okay. Have the wrestling training got harder in this second season?
Definitely. We really picked up where we left off from last season. So last year, not only did we do our month of introductory training, then we trained for the next 4 months while shooting. We continued to learn bigger moves to put into matches throughout the season. This year, that's where we started learning to wrestle, so it was only up from there.
Yeah, you know, the biggest move we learned in season 1 was where we ended, and then we came back for season 2, and they're like, okay, let's do a couple suplexes, and then we'll get on to the real stuff. We're like, that was the hardest thing we learned. Okay.
Thank you very much, girls. See you in season 3.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.